All right, moving on. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's hold on power is now hanging by a thread, literally and figuratively as well. Netanyahu's coalition faces a serious blow that's after a key political ally quit the government. We're talking about the United Torah Judaism Party, which holds 7 seats in the Knesset. It pulled out over Israel's attempt to draft ultra-Orthodox seminary students into the military. With that departure, Netanyahu is now left with a razor-thin 1-seat majority in parliament. Netanyahu's coalition just has 61 seats in the 120-seat Knesset. According to reports, it is unclear whether the Ultra-Orthodox Party, SHAS, which holds 11 seats, will follow the same path. If it does, Netanyahu could lose his governing majority altogether. At the heart of this crisis is a long-standing exemption that allows ultra-Orthodox students to skip mandatory military service. That exemption, in place since Israel's founding, has been ruled unconstitutional by the country's Supreme Court. Despite rising pressure, including from within his own party, Bibi has resisted any firm break with ultra-Orthodox allies who have backed him for years. But with Israel fighting on multiple fronts at this point of time for nearly 3 years, the Israeli army is demanding new recruits. Military leaders say that they urgently need more troops for ongoing operations. The IDF recently announced plans to draft 54,000 ultra-Orthodox men in the coming months. The army also promised stricter enforcement against those avoiding the draft. But even if both ultra-Orthodox parties abandon the coalition, Bibi's government might not collapse immediately. That's because the Israeli parliament will enter its summer recess on July 27th and will not reconvene until October. And that long break reportedly makes it nearly impossible to pass no-confidence motions or call new elections during that period. Bibi could remain in power with a minority government for several more months. Furthermore, backroom talks could reportedly still give out a compromise draft law, giving the ultra-Orthodox parties a way back into the coalition. Opinion polls by Israeli media show Bibi's current alliance is likely to lose majority in the next election. With the opposition currently holding the lead, the next scheduled elections in Israel are set for October 2026. Even as political uncertainty looms within Israel, the Israeli military has expanded its operations. Early this morning, Israeli airstrikes hit multiple targets in Gaza, Lebanon and Syria. In eastern Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, Israeli jets carried out more than 10 air raids targeting what the army described as Hezbollah positions. According to state media, Israeli strikes on East Lebanon killed at least 12 people. In Gaza, meanwhile, a series of explosions shook the enclave as Israeli tanks advanced near the border. Smoke was visible from inside Israel as well. The army warned civilians in northern Gaza to evacuate as it pushed westward towards the center of Gaza city. Israeli spokesperson urged Palestinians to move towards the southern town of Khan Yunis, specifically the Al-Mawasi area, which Israel has declared a humanitarian zone. Well, the IDF says it has dismantled a 3.5-kilometer-long underground tunnel route that it claims to include several tunnel hideouts in Gaza's Khan Yunis. Moreover, reports say Israeli naval boats also shelled western parts of Gaza city. In Gaza city, residents searched for survivors after an overnight strike hit a house in the Al-Shati refugee camp. Palestinian officials say that the blast caused multiple casualties, though the exact number remains unconfirmed. Palestinians could perhaps be seen using basic tools to dig through rubble in hopes of rescuing those trapped underneath.
We were trying to clear the rubble and remove the bodies and souls from under the rubble. We pulled out a man. Thank God he was okay, and he told us there were some children sleeping next to him. We are trying to pull them out. We don't have resources. We are using our fingers and hands to pull out people. With our nails, we are digging in the concrete to pull out people from underneath.
India has lost one of its stars, Fauja Singh. The oldest man to complete a marathon has died at the age of 114 after being hit by a vehicle in Punjab's Jalandhar district. According to the police, Singh was walking in his native Beas village when the accident occurred. Authorities have now identified the vehicle as a Fortuner and are searching for the accused. The vehicle caused serious injuries to Singh, who died at a private hospital shortly after. It is perhaps a devastating way to go for a man who defied age all his life. Fauja Singh was born on April 1st, 1911, but he only started running at the age of 89. In fact, he took up marathon running after moving to the UK to find solace after the death of his youngest son. This after he chanced upon a running club, and what started as a mere coincidence soon became the driving force of his life. He proved that it is literally never too late to start something new. He went on to become an inspiration for millions worldwide. With a career spanning almost 14 years between 2000 and 2013, Fauja Singh completed 9 full marathons, including 6 London marathons. He also set up his own running club in the UK, which also functioned as a charity. His resilience and bravery gained him several admirers. He became a torchbearer at the 2012 London Olympics and was even honoured by the late Queen Elizabeth for contributions to sport and charity. He credited his longevity to simple lifestyle and healthy diet. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to Fauja Singh, describing him exceptional athlete with incredible determination. Unfortunately, none of Fauja's milestones were taken into consideration by the Guinness Book of World Records. That was because he could not show a birth certificate from 1911. But Fauja's legacy cannot be measured by records. It is internal, one that will stand the test of time, just like he did. Well, nature is unleashing its fury on the U.S., leaving a trail of devastation. In the United States, flash floods have turned the streets of New York City and New Jersey into rivers. This as southwestern U.S. battles scorching wildfires. In New York City, authorities have issued flash flood warnings as intense rainfall caused severe flooding, sending water gushing into a subway train platform. An eyewitness video showed flood water surging onto the platform of 28th Street Station as passengers watched from inside a train car. In yet another footage, passengers knelt on their seats or lifted their legs in a bid to avoid the flood water inside the train. Multiple subway lines were briefly suspended or running with delays.
Do you see it?
In New Jersey, cars were stuck in flood water, with the state's governor, Phil Murphy, declaring a state of emergency, urging people to stay indoors. According to the National Weather Service, the slow-moving summer storm was expected to continue showering the mid-Atlantic region into the middle of the week. Rescue workers in New Jersey's Scotch Plains waded into gushing floodwaters armed with red flotation devices after several drivers became stranded in the sudden surge. Floods on the eastern coast follow historic 4th of July flooding that devastated parts of central Texas, killing at least 131 people, including 36 children, and leaving more than 100 people still missing. Rescue efforts along the Guadalupe River resumed after being halted a day earlier. Officials also made plans to drain reservoirs as they searched for victims. Volunteers have arrived in the area, helping residents clear debris, deliver food, and rebuild homes.
All of these volunteers, like Danny and his crew coming down from Texarkana, we got people coming. I had another guy that's a remediation restoration expert out of North Texas, up north of Dallas. He drove all the way down with his vans and about 8 guys, and they, did more work. So it's just tons of people helping out, and then providing food, providing tools, providing brooms, squeegees, everything necessary to get these, not just my houses, all of these houses fixed up.
While eastern U.S. battles severe flooding, devastating wildfires created chaos across southwestern U.S., local authorities are racing to contain wildfires that have hit the U.S. Four-Corner region as well, where the states of Colorado, Arizona, Utah and New Mexico share borders. A wildfire in Arizona's scenic Grand Canyon National Park recently destroyed a historic lodge and dozens of other structures. According to local authorities, the so-called Dragon Bravo blaze has grown to over 5,700 acres and is 0% contained. Another larger wildfire called the White Sage Fire, sparked by lightning near Jacob Lake, has scorched over 49,000 acres and remains 0% contained. Eyewitness video shows thick smoke columns billowing from the White Sage Fire spreading across the north rim of Arizona's region. It was a scene that stunned the country. The beloved Sycamore Gap tree, standing for centuries beside Hadrian's Wall, suddenly gone. Well, today, the 2 people behind its destruction have been sentenced to 4 years and 3 months each. The duo, former friends, Daniel Graham and Adam Carothers. The court has told that the 2 men traveled to the site overnight in September 2023, where one of them recorded the act. Meanwhile, the other used a chainsaw to bring down the tree before taking a small section with them. It took less than 3 minutes to destroy what had taken more than a century to grow. The tree was a symbol of Northumberland and was the site of countless family visits, and also featured in the movie Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. The defendants were once close, but they have perhaps now fallen apart since their arrests, and they now blame the other for the act. During the trial, Graham claimed that his former friend had a fascination with this sycamore tree, saying that he described it as the most famous tree in the world, and spoken of wanting to cut it down and even keeping a piece of string in his workshop that he had used to measure its circumference. However, Carothers denied this, and the court that he could not understand the outcry over the story. That's what he told the court, and he said that it is just a tree. The tree and the wall were owned by the National Trust, and the spokesperson said that the needless felling of the Sycamore Gap tree shocked people around the country and overseas as well, demonstrating the powerful connection between people and the country's natural heritage. Turns out AI, besides being your all-time companion for things big and small, can also be a big-time water drainer. Courtesy tech giant Meta's new $750 million data center on the edge of Newton County, Georgia, which is reportedly leaving families nearby high and dry. How so? A steady shift in water pressure and traces of sediment found in tap waters gave it out. Here's what actually happened. Families residing within 1,000 meters from the Meta data center complained that their appliances involving usage of water went out of service. The sediment particularly raised suspicions of the event being linked to Meta's construction of the data center, which could have also very well mixed with groundwater and wells. This has also made access to clean water increasingly difficult. The situation is dire, with officials now warning of a water deficit by 2030, so much so that residents could soon be forced to ration their water-based needs. And that being said, a more serious problem is, besides water, the Meta Center also seems to be draining out bank balance, with families reportedly shelling out close to $5,000 or more for their water woes. And with cost of municipal water rising, they're all left with very less options at this point of time. According to the NYT report, Meta's Georgia data center uses 500,000 gallons of water daily, which is nearly 10% of the entire county supply. If you do the maths clearly, you'll know that the amount that is flowing out of pockets of residents is huge. It's no surprise that AI data center demands water as a critical resource, especially so in data centers that helps power cutting-edge technology and keeps the computers running. And from the looks of it, AI's thirst for more water is not going to quench anytime soon, requiring millions of gallons of the resource in a single day. This alone should be a wake-up call for scientists and investors of such tech alike. Well, a senior Iranian official claims that Israel used supernatural tactics during the recent 12-day conflict between the two countries. Abdullah Ganji, former editor of the IRGC-affiliated newspaper, posted on social media alleging that Israel used occult powers and supernatural forces in its war against Iran. According to him, residents discovered a few papers on Tehran streets after the war. These papers, according to him, had Jewish symbols and talismanic inscriptions on it. And he described the findings as a strange phenomenon. Ganji also referenced unverified reports claiming that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu allegedly met occult practitioners during the early phases of the Gaza war. He also claimed that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, had warned that foreign intelligence services, particularly Western and Israeli agencies, use occult sciences and enlist jinns for espionage. The post gained traction online and drew a reaction from Israeli officials as well. Walid Ghadban, Israel's political advisor to the UN, reposted a Mossad message captioned in Persian, and I'm quoting what he wrote, "Jinn are everywhere," followed by a ghost emoji.